Hello and a warm welcome back to another episode of the Wendercast with your hosts, me, Jimbo, and Calvinator. As always, we're going to be discussing the latest NFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on in the last week, or 2 weeks in our case, because we had the autumn Q&A last episode. One important note, none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of metaverse football. It's good to be back in the studio, isn't it, Calva?
Definitely, yeah, and I'm very, very excited because we have an amazing guest. I think we hyped it enough with announcements on Twitter and sharing in general on Discord, so I don't think it's a surprise who is with us in the studio, but we are very excited to have the big boss here, MFL CEO Mathurin, or Matt, I think we'll say with Matt, so welcome, how are you?
Welcome.
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for having me, super excited to be here, and yeah, I'm super excited.
Yes, I think we're also very excited to talk about the big announcement this week on Tuesday, Season 1. So we have so many things to talk about, so many questions from users, from listeners. Before we dive into the updates and into Season 1 and answer all those questions, I guess, Jimbo, we have a couple of announcements about the coming week.
Couple of announcements, yeah. So it's been quite a long while since we last did a stream. So we thought we'll do two. So this week, starting the 21st, so when you're listening to this, on the Wednesday and the Thursday, we're going to be live streaming both. As you've probably seen from both of us on Twitter, I've been very disciplined in hoarding all of my wheel tickets. Calva couldn't resist and had to do a couple of spins of his wheels, but he did it for his YouTube content and things like that. So that's perfectly acceptable. So on the Wednesday, I guess 8 till 10 UK time, but we'll do all the translations and all the logistics on that side. We'll be streaming for a couple of hours then. And then on Thursday, which is the last day of the breakaway leagues and the cups, we'll be live streaming on the Thursday as well. So if you're around on Wednesday, Thursday evening, morning, night, wherever you are in the world, come join us on the Wendercast or on Twitch at Wendercast and come hang out with us then.
Yes, and we're going to give away something secret.
Oh, yes.
A bit of a different price, but we're going to give away something. But we cannot say more about it because it's a secret. So join the streams to find out what it's about and to maybe become the winner of that special prize. Ooh. So yeah, streams this week. Later on with Matt, we're going to talk about all the Season 1 and answer all your questions. But first, it is time for the weekly updates. And to talk about our MFL moments of the week. So, Jimbo, what was your MFL moment of the week?
My moment of the week was Wednesday, rapid play. And both my clubs, I entered them in for 3 rapid plays each, so 6. All 3 of them with different caps. So this was logistically a nightmare for me because I was having to watch the games to see if I won them. I had to watch the competition page to see if the tournament filled up so I could prepare for a lineup. And then I had to refresh my tactics page to see if the game had been scheduled for me to submit the right cap team. That was all my own fault. I knew this was going to happen because it was an 800 cap, a 775 and a 725. But I did it because I wanted to try and get as many tickets as I could for the wheel. And with 2 clubs, I came away with 9 tickets. So
nice
in the space of 2 hours. So I was happy with that. It was a lot of stressful getting the lineups together, and that was all my own fault. But it was worth it because I got an extra 9 tickets, which I think increased my total at the time by like 50% or something. So it was a lot of tickets I won for 2 clubs. So I think that takes me to 37 now. I think it is overall, which I'm happy with that.
And as cherry on top, you also won another Wenderby.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, the Wyverns
I saw it.
reigning victorious against the Calva Juniors, I believe it was, wasn't it? The Calva Juniors.
Yeah, Calva Juniors. Yeah, indeed. Matt, what was your MFL moment of the week? Normally we ask managers, but now I'm interested from your as like CEO. What would be your moment?
No, I think on my side it was really, and I think it was for the entire team, was really the announcement of season 1. I think it was a big moment, and we've been preparing that for a long time. So we were super happy to finally release it, and to be able to announce it, and see that it was like getting a lot of organic growth, like the tweet that we did, like a lot of retweet, like, comments, etc. So that was super cool to see that. But actually, Rapid Play was also, I think, probably second or like first equal or something like that, because it was also super good timing, because maybe you don't realize that, but in the back end I was like recreating every time like a tournament was finished. I was recreating another one in the back end. We were also having a bit of issues, so it was a bit kind of stressful, but also kind of nice to see like there was a lot of people participating, etc. So yeah, I think season 1 announcement was obviously top one, and then Rapid Play was also cool, even from the backside, like from the back to see it. It was pretty cool to see all the tournaments getting filled and recreate them, and yeah, that was cool.
Awesome. So a very busy week, but also very good week at
it was
MFL
busy week.
HQ.
Busy week.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So I'll finish with my moment. Maybe, Jimbo, you saw this message in general, or a new user asking who wants to swap a Spanish club for a Polish.
Yes, I saw that yesterday. I saw. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah. During the weekend.
He was spamming it in many channels, and I was like, could it be my city? Could it be where I live? And then I checked his profile, and he did pack Ice Club from Poznan, where I live.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, I already have 8 clubs, but I need to get this because it's literally the town where I live. So I reached out to him, and I was like, and then he was like, yeah, but you don't have a Spanish club. But I'm like, yeah, but you can also just sell it to me, and then use that budget to buy another team.
Yeah.
So in the end, I convinced him and kind of told him how things work. And also with Google Translate, I've been explaining to him many other things in Spanish. So thanks to Google Translate, I can also help new users in Spanish. But yeah, I got that club, I got the license, and I established my 9th team now with a name I don't think you can present, but you can try pronounce. But I think you can try to do that on stream, maybe
on stream. I saw it this morning, and I looked at it, and I went, "Oh, I'm glad that's your team, not mine," because I can't pronounce it every week on the podcast.
Yeah, it's very Polish is a crazy language, so it will be very challenging. But yeah, very happy, and they play in orange, so I have like kind of a patriotic color.
Will that be your favorite team now, because it's your hometown or where you're currently living? Sorry.
Yeah, and it might be good for my YouTube. That's like kind of a rise, from the lowest tier to the highest, like a project.
Road to glory.
Road to glory, yeah, like a Wrexham style thing with that team. So to be continued, but I'm very tempted to do it with that team. Dev updates time then. So of course, season 1 was the big topic, and the team is working hard to finalize preparations for season 1. Rapid Play, we also just heard about that. And the back office has been enhanced to do it a bit more quicker, a bit better. There were some issues, such as duplicated matches or match not starting, but fixes have been implemented or will be implemented next week. So the Rapid Play this Wednesday should go very smoothly, hopefully. Then engine, Quentin has been focusing heavily on it and balancing the engine with special attention to player ratings this week. Other cool things is that there will be a referee added to the engine.
When refs.
So we've been speculating about it, and it's gonna happen. No confirmed date yet, though, when we can see a little green dot walking on the pitch. Then some improved realism of set pieces, which is great, and there's also a new visual summary tool for the team to analyze them. And some other smaller improvements and fixes is, for example, that long shots, some long passes ended in goal. I've been sharing some of those on my Twitter too, like kind of from the own half. So that has been fixed, and an issue when the ball was exiting the pitch has also been fixed, and situations where no one was kind of going for the ball. So a couple of corrections. Player progression, the team is making sure this is totally ready for season 1. And last but not least, the badges. We've all seen, I guess, well, we have both seen these cool badges added to our profiles for like Alpha Wolf, Alpha Champion, etc. Or maybe you won one in the wheel that you're ready for takeoff. So that's a little cool addition to our profiles. Jimbo, biggest news takeaway? Info from
news.
The refs.
I really want to say the referees, right? when I read that on Friday, and I went to increase realism. Referees have been added to the engine. No confirmed date. I went, hang on, didn't we did a double hashtag about a month ago, didn't we? We went hashtag when refs or hashtag
when streakers. Yeah.
That was it. When streakers. And I'm glad that the MFL team have decided to go for referees rather than streakers. Unless that is something for the far future, where if it's the World Cup final or the MFF, a Champions League final, and first minute a little pink dot runs across the screen and then some security guards follow it. But that would be amazing. But that's totally not needed at all. I think the badges were a really nice touch. Because I think there were 3 badges. One for if you participated in at least one Alpha season. The second one was for at least 3. I think it was. And the final one was if you competed in every single Alpha season, which was the Alpha Champion. And then based on that, you also got some added wheel spins as well. So maybe on Wednesday when we do our wheel spins, we might be blessed.
It was from this.
Might be blessed. We might be blessed.
Yes. Yeah, we kind of like this concept of badge. I think it's cool. It's some nice reward. We also included this badge in the in the breakaway wheel. When you can when you on the mystery box, you can also win the ready for takeoff badge. So yeah, we like these badges. We know that for the moment it's not super intuitive to see them, especially on your profile. It's much easier to see them on the other's profile, but yeah, definitely something we want to improve, and we also see that in the future. It's not like a short-term priority, but in the future that could be also we could use badges like to have some achievements or specific onboarding stuff. Also, that could be like you get this badge if you do these actions or stuff like that. So that's not a very short-term stuff, but definitely some ideas that we have in mind, and we thought it was a good way to implement it with some to make it like kind of a nice little something to our super committed user base that has been following us for since the very beginning and since the alpha season. So it's pretty cool to see that, and it was also cool to see the feedback from the community that they liked the design. It was nice to see that.
Yes, that was really cool. I'm also
and
feel like a little like happiness when I see that badge and the alpha move.
And it's been done by it's Luca. Big shout out to Luca, because he's super good at that, and he managed to do that. He's not a designer, but now using AI, you can do amazing stuff. So he managed to build like consistent badges, because we have 3 different tiers, and so it's also cool to have like they are super similar but with some nice difference. So he's a magician behind the badges and behind a lot of other stuff actually.
Yes, the magician, Lucas Magic. Nice.
Yeah,
great. Okay, season update time. So last week we had the Q&A, and actually we have not talked at all about breakaway leagues or cups or what's happening. 10 matches have been played in Breakaway League 1, and we have, well, I wouldn't say it's a surprising leader of the table. It's OM Legends, Joe B. We already know he's getting better and better, especially in the Cups, which he won 2 times in a row. And now he's also topping Breakaway League 1, 21 points. Then Tango, Big Wilbert's team, Meta Mercenaries 3rd, Londinium 4th. Diogo Bonito would normally play in Plat. Sturge's team is now 5th in this highest league. So that's also great that some Diamond and Plat teams have been mixed now because of the Breakaway League. Then DFC Los Angeles, also a new team from DO, Bicione Milano and BFC Barcelona. And Breakaway Cup, so there's 4 teams left in Breakaway Cup. 1 is again Joe B, OM Legends against Diogo Bonito from Sturge, and BFC Barcelona, Wallers, and DFC Manchester, another the plat team, the gold team actually of Dio, I think. So what do you make of that, Jimbo? Any observations?
Could he do 3 cups in a row, Joe B? Could he do it 3 in a row? That'd be
He's
some
a real cup fighter, that's
achievement.
For sure.
Yeah, real cup fighter. But also, yeah, a big shout out to him for currently being top of that breakaway League One. If there's any of the seasons you want to be top of going into season 1, it's this one where I get all the diamond leagues are really competitive, right? It's the cream of the crop. They're all very closely sort of strength, but going into the season before season 1, that's the one where you want to be, you want to be doing well. That's where the confidence, the momentum carries and pushes through. If you're someone like BFC Barcelona, for example, and you've come, potentially bottom of your group, yes, you can use the motivation, but it's not the best feeling to go into season 1 knowing you potentially, we won't be bottom of the diamond because it's only 8 teams, right, compared to diamonds, however many.
Yeah, and also there's now a lot of plat teams in there, and like the diamond teams are a bit scattered through. I think leagues 1 to 4. I think Berlin is even in 5. I think.
Yeah,
so
but it shows
also a bit mixed.
Yeah, it shows how closely, or how competitive some of those platinum teams are. Where in that League One you've got the 2 platinum teams there, and they aren't being smashed. They're not being, they are competing within diamond quality teams right here. So it's going to be very interesting and very exciting to see, 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time when season 1 is fully underway. How good does it seem to say season 1, by the way? Not like alpha season 0.7. To say season 1, how good does that sound, by the way?
Good, yeah.
I was thinking to myself, am I saying that right? Yeah, season 1 is right. We are officially allowed to say that now, which is great. But it's going to be great.
And crazy that 3 teams of Diamond will be relegated. So those kind of things are also crazy. And also, I selected one match of the week. We usually pick one match of the week. And this was from League 1, Big Wilbert's team. So Club Atletico Tango against Scrubs Biscione Milano. 3-0 to Big Wilbert, to Tango. So I wrote down it's time to tango again. He's really back, Big Wilbert. Last season he ended very low in Diamond and Scrub won. And now he's in second and he beat Scrub. So I think that's a sign that we know Big Wilbert very competitive, and he came back in this season.
On the other hand, on behalf of the Wendirt cast, Big Wilbert, I apologise because now Calva has put upon you the curse of the Wendirt podcast, where now we said you were doing well, you will lose every game and bottle it for the rest of the Breakaway League. That's just how it goes. When we big you up on the pod, the tides turn and you start to do badly.
Let's see how that goes. Matt, do you follow Diamond? Do you have any? Well, I guess you cannot say you have any favorites. That would be a bit difficult, maybe, to say. But do you follow it, or do you like to check which teams are doing well, or like that Joe B is getting better, or do you kind of follow that a little bit, or?
Yeah, I try to follow a bit, but to be honest, not like super accurately because. We have a lot of other priorities there, and so it's already hard to follow everything. But yeah, from time to time, obviously we check, and it's interesting to see the different dynamics, the change in like some winners that are after that, like the dynamic change really in the Diamond League. So yeah, it's super interesting, and it will be, I think, even more interesting when the season 1 will start, and to see. All of this team compete. They have created like so good rosters. It's like incredible when you see the quality in their rosters, their players. It's like it's just crazy. And actually, as you said, there's also some super good platinum team that will be doing pretty well in Diamond, as the Breakaway is showing us. So yeah, I'm super excited and curious to see how it will play out, and yeah, to see the results for this first season. That will be the first one with. Obviously, no promotion in this league, but obviously with relegation. So
yeah, that is gonna be crazy. And then we can really start talking about this relegation battle, right? We have to really now. We usually talk about the title race, and then we have to focus on relegation battles. And
yeah.
So
it will make things much more spicy for sure. Yeah,
it will be drama for sure, and fun to talk about, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, market moves, a lot of market activity, and I'm very happy to say there are a lot of new managers, new names to shout out. I counted 16 new users in the sales bot this week. So Gabriel, Nick66, Just Heat 14, Has Nustafia Football Agency, El Kraken, West Tigers, Rengifo, Yak, Yosalde, Coach Emil, Catalin B, Juan Lux, and Nagore. And the new user of the week, I put TJ Scorp, who bought 10 uncommons straight in a row. And I have a little bit later how come he has all that money. But first, some other market moves. The common, uncommon, Eldun, he bought about 20 common players. And what is interesting is that his last transaction was in May, 5 months ago. So I guess he saw season 1 announcement, woke up and decided to buy 20 common players. Rare players, Dio bought an 84 rated Japanese striker, 25 years old with 90 shooting for 350 from TJ Scorp. So that's where the money came from. He, I guess, joined MFL, got some kickoff packs. He packed this 84 rated striker, sold it to Dio, and then had budget to buy 10 uncommons. So that's fun to see those dynamics going on. Legendary players, not so much activity. I didn't see any in the past week, but we do have a splash from a little bit earlier. And then clubs, I just wrote down Juan Lux, this new user who sold Poznan to me in ICE for 75 USD. And he bought then Cadiz, an Iron club. So he also moved up 2 tiers to Iron already for 90 USD. So I think that's a pretty good deal for him. And now over to you, Jimbo, for the big moment.
Thank you, sir. For Splash of the Week.
I like this moment.
Thank you.
It's live.
The first live rendition, yeah. This week's Splash of the Week is from Herta. And technically this is like last week's Splash of the Week, but because we've not been doing Splash of the Week for the last 2 weeks, we're including it. It still counts. So, 9th of October, Herta dropped $800 on a centre-back from Norway by the name of Ida Mikkelsen. You know, everyone, my pronunciation is awful. Overall, 88. Lovely overall. 18 years old. Starting to see some of these Splash of the Weeks. A little bit of a common trend with some of these younger players coming in. Maybe trying to get ahead of the curve with development and progression, that sort of piece. Purchasing him from Joe B. So the Herta's also French. Yeah, so a little French on French transaction going on there. $800. Like I said, Cav, I don't think a legendary purchase in the last week, but this week. But last week there was quite a few going around. So it's great to see some big legendary purchases coming in. And will we see this trend continue as we lead up to season 1? I think so.
I also think so. Yeah, and it's interesting also that Herta is kind of like some players who we saw before are a bit like waking up because of season 1 announcement and start to, or getting closer to season 1, starting to splash a bit more or start to buy way more comments because player progression is starting. So it's good to see.
Yeah, and I think there will be also maybe some sleeping managers that were just like following along and that will probably kind of wake up at this time, and so there will be also maybe some opportunities. Some people will want to sell, or some new people will want to join. So I think there will be some. We'll see how it goes, but I guess that when the transfer window will launch for season 1, it will be probably a busy transfer window. Even if we already have a lot of teams that are already like built, kind of. For example, for the you said that there was no legendary purchase for this week, but I think it's getting rarer and like more rare and more rare because like the teams they have their roster, etc. But I think there would be some new deals that are going to be made for season 1.
Definitely, I think from also the new users coming in, I think in general we'll see way more activity and also new drop right on November 6th. So that should also. So I think in the future I'll have way more names again to shout out, and Jimbo has bigger splashes to do. So that will be
as long as they're like an English or American name or a non difficult, or as long as they're non-difficult to pronounce, I don't mind.
Yeah, splash on English names.
Just people don't go buying loads of Serbians for expensive prices, please. I don't want to have to go through the brain power and decay of having to figure out how to pronounce those ones.
IRL MFL. Jimbo, did you watch? Well, I know you watched Liverpool Chelsea.
Yes.
Did you notice any things you also see in 2D and MFL, or some FPL tips for people?
I was going to refer. I like referring to the FPL here, and I was trying to think of something to do with FPL that was good to talk about. But the Premier League was quite boring this week. There was, Liverpool Chelsea was a good game, but after international break, a lot of the teams tend to sort of struggle, and it's not really high scoring because a lot of players only got back 2 days before the first game kicked off, and they might have had to have been on a 9-10 hour flight. Hopefully that doesn't exist with the MFL. If my Wyverns go to South America and play, they can play the next day back in England, no problem. There's no fatigue going on there. In terms of, there's no jet lag. They may be a little bit fatigued.
When jet lag, that's a hashtag.
Yeah, when jet lag. or maybe that's the reason Quito and other South American, clubs are so popular in demand, because they want the altitude to play an effect. It's
exactly like we factor everything. The altitude is super important.
They have less fatigue because they play altitude. Really fun.
Yeah. But I'm just going to give a quick reminder to the people who play FPL that if you've not used your wildcard yet, you have until game week 18. In previous seasons, I think last season was different, but in previous seasons, you only get one wildcard where you can change your whole team. But in this season, you get 2, but they do not stack. So make sure you've used it before the game week 18. Otherwise, you'll be very frustrated when you can't do 2 full swaps. But, if you're like me and you captained Haaland this week, you're having a stinky weekend. So yeah.
Matt, what about you? Did you watch some football this weekend? Or you are a fan of PSG, right?
I just watched the second half of Paris Saint-Germain against Strasbourg. Was cool. Yeah, was cool to watch, because also I think it's a too young team. PSG now, they are like kind of young. They recruited a lot of young players, and Strasbourg is also super young. I think probably one of the youngest team in the French Championship. So it was cool to see like this whole young player. The match was pretty dynamic. In the end, PSG won, so I was also happy for that. But another thing that was cool in terms of IRL football, I think, was it was not this week, but it was probably 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago. It was the now it's official. It's been official this week that Bernard Arnault is purchasing Paris FC, which is another club. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yeah. Some new investors, right?
New investors. So now he's going to be so for the one that don't know, Bernard Arnault is the CEO of LVMH, and so he has a big empire. I think he's probably the second richest man on earth or something like that. So big guy entering the space, and yeah, it makes me think about a little bit about MFL. When, for example, you have a guy that you don't really know that is interesting, like for maybe you or something like that just entered the room and then purchase a license and then purchase a lot of players. And yeah, that's. I remember when I saw the news, I did a screenshot and sent it to the team, and with a comment like, "A whale has entered the room," and
yeah.
And so yeah, that's
nice. You see it also like Mbappé as like Khan, right? He's like doing a lot of football players nowadays play almost Football Manager or MFL in real life, and they buy a club in a lower tier and try to get it up. There's more happening, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've seen also. It's not Alexander Arnold or
Alexander Arnold also. Yeah, I think
he wants to purchase Nantes, or no? There's not something like that.
Yeah. No, there was something like that too, but it's more a trend. Like there's more football players getting like into that, like owning clubs and investing. It's really cool to see. So
yeah,
hopefully they also start considering metaverse clubs in the future. It would be nice.
consonants.
For me, the IRL MFL moment. So in the dev updates, I mentioned that there was this kind of like bug that sometimes from the own half, we saw quite some goals where the own half a player would shoot kind of lob the goalie, like a massive chip. And then people were like, someone even said, how is it possible that my super good goalie still gets beaten like this with a shot? But now in the match Ajax Heracles, a player also scored from his own half with like a massive chip. Check it out, this goal. It was really
unbelievable.
Yeah, he's called Mario Engels. Engels means English, by the way. So Mario Engels, and he did an amazing shot from his own half and scored against Ajax. They still won 4-3 Ajax, but yeah. So these things in 2D, we see them happening in MFL, but in real life they also happen. So it is realistic. Maybe the frequency was not so realistic, but it is realistic that those balls go in also. So
yeah, what is complex with the frequency also to. I think here there was probably it was a bit too much, too many times, etc. But also in MFL there are so much more games. It's like if you count all the leagues, etc. I don't know how many games there are, but there's obviously a lot, and so of course the frequency of stuff we will see more of these things because there is much more games in there.
Yeah. No, indeed, yeah. So there's more worldies because there's just way more matches. So that's makes sense. All right, we are going to finish up the updates with, of course, the moment everyone's been waiting for, the beer top 3. So I'll tell you what is the current top 3. So on number 1, very controversial choice by Fragioko, Heineken. Then on number 2 we have Basti's Feda. Apparently it's a beer from Marseille. I don't know if you know this.
Feda.
Beer, Feda. And then Jimbo's beer, Neck Oil from Beavertown, is on the 3rd place. So
actually, I don't know the last 2. I know Heineken, of course. But, I mean, I know Fada by name, but I'm not sure I've tasted it, or at least I can't remember the taste. And yours, Jimbo, I'm sorry, but
you wouldn't have tried mine. If you did, then fair play. Big respect if you have tried it, but I wouldn't have thought you had because unless you bought it online. But that's a weird thing to do, buy a British IPA in France.
Yeah. No, on my side, I drink a bit of beer. I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I think one beer that I really liked and I discovered when I was in the US is the I think back in 2016, something like that. That's where I discovered the IPAs in the US. I think it was not super common in France. It arrives a bit now. There's super common. There's a trend of IPAs, but before it was not super common. So I think the first IPA that I really liked was the probably Lagunitas that I really liked, and now I think if I had to replace to choose one, I would probably choose the Brooklyn. I don't know if you know this beer, but it's an IPA, Brooklyn IPA, which is pretty famous in France. You can see it, you can buy it in the supermarket now. It's getting more popular, but I think I would go with this one, and I'm sorry Fragioko, but I would replace the Heineken, despite not knowing the other one. But I think I have to do that. I know that Fragioko wanted to do a social experiment with that, or I don't know what I think here, but I killed his social experiment on the early days, I think.
Yeah, and he's not a beer drinker. He just knows that there was Heineken is everywhere, right?
Yeah.
You see Champions League sponsor, I think. So, but now it's gone. It's gone. So we're
gone forever. Gone forever, by the way.
Gone forever.
It can't be brought back. It's gone forever.
Too much responsibility to do that. Huh?
Yeah. It's good. You take the responsibility.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
I like it. So Brooklyn IPA number 1, and then Feda.
I think I have seen this in England before. I've never tried it, but I've definitely seen. I recognise the logo of it, so I've definitely seen it. So next time I do see it, I'll have a little drink. And a bit like when I get a Kinder chocolate, and I always put it in the chat and at Yaks, because when he likes his Kinder Buenos, I'll put a picture in the Discord and I'll tag you, Matt, and and I'll be telling you that I'm trying
Send
out
me a
your
picture to see
I'm
where
trying
you're
out your
taking
one.
it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll give you a little rating out of 10.
All right, time for the big topic, season 1.
Woo!
So massive announcement. The clock is going to start ticking. Season 1 is going to start with a lot of changes. So we're going to dive into the new features and the changes. But also a lot of questions were a bit about before season 1. Are we going to like a bit about the decision to launch it and maybe some marketing? Is it what's going to happen there? And also about after season 1, like what might we expect in the future? There were loads of questions with when this, when that. I'm going to ask, we are going to ask everything to Matt. So stay tuned for a lot of info and details and maybe some sneak peeks.
Just before we dive straight in, just a big thank you to all of you who did reply and send in questions. You're all amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Yes, definitely. A lot of, it's really cool to have kind of this conversation driven by listener questions and really talking about what you guys want to hear. So let's start with the before season 1 part. And Dark Side had an interesting question. He asked, what gave you and the team the confidence to go live with season 1? So when did you know that like we are now ready to go live with it and start with it? And he also added, for example, with Football Manager, they have like a new version each year, but with MFL there's no reset, so there's like no resetting it. So what gave you guys confidence to say let's go season 1?
Oh, that's a hard question for the first one. No, but I think I think we at some point we needed to launch, and we wanted to launch because it's already if you really count everything since our first drop and since we started really MFL, it's more than 3 years I think that we started MFL. And so at some point you have to launch. So we could have if you're looking to have the perfection, it will never happen because everything can be always improved, etc. So at some point we knew that we had to take the decision to launch. And what makes us confident is that we've been running a lot of different alpha seasons, so 8 alpha season, and so we've seen that the engine has been improving more and more. We've seen that the feedback from the users, from the community, are better and better. We think that with 2D release, it provides a new experience, etc. And so at the moment we're pretty confident, and pretty happy with the engine that we have. We think it's a decent engine. It's not perfect, obviously, and it will almost never be. It can always be improved, but we think it's a decent engine, a very good engine for season 1. And then the other stuff that we had to take into consideration was which features we want to have for season 1, which are the mandatory features, because of course there are a lot of other features that we want to ship and that we have in mind, but we need to define which one were the most important. And so we defined these features. So just quickly to mention them, it's like player progression, player aging and retirement, promotion relegation. These 3 were like mandatory and were like they all go together. And then we thought like, okay, there's two other stuff that we think due to this player progression especially we need to include is like development center, and then also better clauses, because I think because there will be like some differences of the number of matches you play, etc. We wanted to add some clauses. So that's really we decided to, okay, let's go with these features to when we will be able to ship that, we can go into season 1, and we were confident to be able to develop all of this. A lot of stuff have already been developed, and we are almost fully ready for everything now. So yeah, that's I think around probably end of July, something like that, we were already thinking that season 8 would be the last one, and 0.8 would be the last alpha season, and that we wanted to launch season 1.
Awesome, good to know. Yeah, and also about this kind of Football Manager thing, like as you say, the engine can keep changing, right? You keep improving that. And you can just have now the basic game, and you can expand that. So you can
definitely.
go ahead of it.
I think engine-wise, it will be it's pretty much infinite. It's unlimited. You can always do some improvement. We can see that for Football Manager, for example. They I don't know, like they have like probably 20 years experience, even more maybe. I don't know exactly when the first games started, but more than 20 years experience, and they're still making improvement. They're still changing stuff, and so I think engine-wise it can be infinite, and that's the aim, to be always to keep improving it, to improve with the feedbacks, also with the data that we have, and to make it the closest possible to real football simulation.
Yeah, sounds good. Then the other thing that was connected to the launch, so a lot of users wanted to know a bit about the marketing aspect. So season 1 is here. It's like a huge milestone, which could also attract now more users because the real game is going to start. So, for example, Sturge wanted to know if there will be kind of a big marketing push and what it will be like. And Dane, he wanted to know how will you attract new players, new users.
Yeah. So regarding marketing, we want to do a bit of marketing, and we've already been starting a bit for season 1. We try from the very beginning. We really try to go to have an organic growth. So we want also to continue that way, like to try to have like organic marketing strategy that don't cost too much, etc. To save the budget. We are like we want to be super efficient with the money that we are spending in the marketing, etc. So we are trying like some marketing action, like also some organic one, but also some paid one, and we are going to try some strategy, but we don't want to go all in on something at the moment, or to spend a lot of budget, because we don't think that would be the most efficient. We want to test some channels and to try it. So there will be some. We've already contacted some influencer or content creators that we want to try to partner with to for them to talk to their audience about MFL. We also want to have some initiative, and that will be probably announced this week, like some marketing operation with special partners that are already playing MFL and that have an audience to have them like communicate about MFL even more. So yeah, that's this kind of initiative that we are doing. We've done also like with the trailer that we've built for season 1 announcement. That's also marketing. We've published it on our social. So, and we've also put some pay ads on it, so that it can spread a bit more, like the message of season 1, so that as many people can see it. So that's the stuff that we are doing. And regarding targeting also new audience, new users, etc. I think it's a complex topic, because for a lot of time we didn't have a product that could allow us to really attract the mainstream audience. I think we're getting closer to it. We're probably not there 100% yet. I think there's still some stuff that needs to be improved. We also need to see how season 1 will go, etc. But yeah, we at the moment, our like the people that we think are the super good target for us is Sorare players, because they are football fans, they already know and they already understand Web3, etc. So this is the perfect audience, and that's an audience we see we have like super good conversion rate with. But this audience is still pretty limited in the end as a marketing target. It's still a niche audience, a relatively small audience, but for us it's super good because we can still grow on it. In the future, what we really want to target a bit more is the Football Manager, Hat-Trick, OSM, or this kind of players, especially Football Manager, because I think we are pretty much closer to that OSM, or like Hat-Trick, or even like maybe Hat-Trick would fit a bit more, but like Top 11, for example, there are more mobile games, so we are a bit far from it. So, but really focusing on Football Manager players to show them their product and to attract them. That will be, I think, the second step. At the moment, we've already contacted some content creator regarding like that are talking about football manager, etc. And the feedback that we have is that for their audience, they're almost all talking about free to play, and because they don't like too much, they are like, for gamers there is the NFT things can be a bit tricky, it can feel a bit scammy, etc. So they are saying like, okay, I like your product, I like what you're doing, etc. But I don't think my audience will feel comfortable if I start to advertise your product in front of them, or at least that would make me more comfortable if you had a free-to-play mode that I don't ask them you need to spend $80 to buy a club to start. So that's interesting. That's an interesting feedback, and that's why I think the product is not 100% ready to really go mainstream. Doesn't mean that we cannot grow on some other user audience, and I think the Web3 audience, we still have a lot of new users to bring, but our target is really to go to the more mainstream audience and to try to attract like a football manager, of course, but maybe also FIFA or EA, FC players, etc. So yeah, that's basically was a long answer, but I hope it answers.
No, it's clear. It's clear. So yeah, there will be, to summarize it, there will be a push, but not like a huge push, because you also want to wait a little bit.
To see some TV shows on ESPN,
exactly.
like
halftime adverts or something.
Super Bowl. when Super Bowl at and they say this is real football. Maybe that can work. But yeah, I think that will answer definitely the question of Sturge and Dane. So yeah, again, this week to be continued, there will be more messaging and announcements about it. So this is before season 1. Let's move into season 1 and all the new features and changes. So we already mentioned promotion relegation in our season update. This will be, I think, it will have the biggest impact maybe on gameplay and what's going to happen. And so how would you kind of summarize that in 1 minute? Like what's going to happen for people who don't know? Like for example, there's 3 teams relegating. Why so? Maybe some people say, oh, that's quite a lot, 3 teams. Or 4 teams even, right? Can be. So why would you say, why did you make that choice? Why is it necessary for the ecosystem?
Yeah, so basically we explored different scenario regarding promotion relegation. What we wanted. So first, there was no choice. Like the winner need to be promoted. So if you can't, and so there's 2 leagues that goes to the upper league. I hope it will be clear, because without an image to explain it, it can be hard. But I'll try to do my best. So yeah, there's 2 leagues that's going to be promoted in the higher division, and so they will go into the, for example, League 1 and 2 of bronze division will go to the silver division, League 1, for example. And so like the winners, they need to go to be promoted. So at least there would be like 2 promotions. So it would mean 2 relegation for sure. That was the minimum. And then we wanted to have some for the guys that finished second. We wanted them to have an opportunity to go to be promoted, and we wanted to have a slight opportunity also for the third, to make it more exciting. Like, you are. If you are 4 or 5, you still can fight for something, try to reach the 3rd place or the 2nd or stuff like that, and not just to have like the top position that goes to the higher league. So that's why we came up with this system, where in the end there is 3.5 like relegation basically per league, because there is 3 that are sure to be demoted, to be relegated, and there is 1 that has a playoff match against a team from the lowest division, and so if they win this playoff match, they stay. So let's imagine that this matchup is 50-50. It's 3.5 relegation, and then the mechanics of playoff match, we think it's also pretty interesting, pretty exciting at the end of the season. It will be crazy matches to watch, and so that's why we built it this way. We changed it a bit. We changed it a bit compared to our previous thought from the white paper. We did some change and some upgrade there, but I think it's pretty good like that, and we hope people will enjoy it and that it will create a lot of exciting match at the end of the season.
Definitely, I think it will be fun to stream, Jimbo. Those
yeah, 100% streaming final match days of the season where someone has to win to stay in the division, or someone has to win to get into that third place or get that top position to get automatic promotion, versus the pain of knowing you have to go through a playoff where you don't just get automatically promoted. It's that sort of thing. I can't wait for that. It's why a lot of leagues, on their final day of the season, they all start at the same time, so no one has an advantage or anything like that. It's going to be. I've always said from day one for a long time that promotion relegation will be one of my favourite features, because of any sport out there. I'm talking to you, Americans, with your sports. It just makes things far more entertaining and meaningful. You can't tank a league season to get a better draft player. If you're crap, you get relegated and you have to face. You have to go through the struggle to come back up again. But playoff games are always exciting, regardless. So I can't wait for that.
Really cool. And I want to touch also on another subject, which is the auto relegation. So how did this decision come about? So teams who are not registering their clubs or licenses they're gonna be auto relegated, right?
Yeah, definitely. So the idea is to have like teams that are inactive team, or like that didn't register for the season, to be relegated at some point. We are still like exploring some situation, or maybe it wouldn't be directly after the end of the registration. Maybe there could be like a window where you could still participate to the league but have your first game cancelled, or like forfeit or something like that. We're still exploring these ideas, because what we don't like is that we said that the end of the registration, for example, is on Sunday, and then you have somebody that comes on Monday, and then I missed it by a few hours, and then so it's always a bit tough. So maybe we can have like some situation where we could still have some teams in the end. But the idea is that at some point, if you are inactive, if you're not playing, your team will be relegated. It's like the same for player progression. If you are not active, your player will age. Even if you hold them in packs or something like that, we can come up like on that after probably. But because what we don't want to have people holding teams just for like speculation purposes and say, I have a platinum team, and so I will just wait and see how the project goes, and when it will be 1 million users, I will resell my platinum team. No, it doesn't work. Like if you are like inactive and don't play the game, your team will decrease and will be at the bottom of the pyramid, and it will lose its value. So you need to be active and contributing to the MFL ecosystem. So that's why we are making this. We want team to be relegated, and we will probably do that before the end of the season. We will relegate them before the end of the season to avoid that on the marketplace they appear as leagues that are one division above compared to what they really are, because they will be demoted. So we want to do that pretty early in at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, otherwise you could buy like an Iron Club which automatically becomes Stone. Yeah, that's a bit like unfair.
Yeah.
That's not the most fair select. Yeah, and final little thing about this, like, will you try to reach out to kind of those sleepy zombie wallets who are not very active? Can you reach out to them, or?
I guess there's only so much you can do, really, isn't there? You can.
Yes, it's email. I don't know.
Actually, we do that every season. Probably we'll have a bigger focus on that, and we will send more reminders, etc. but we do that every season. Like usually what we do for people that are not entered in that haven't registered, we send at least 2 to 3 emails, dedicated email to the specific users, etc., to tell them that they have like 24 hours to register and something like that. That's the first thing that we do. Usually we also create a Discord group where we include them in this group, and we tag everyone and say, hey, you are not registered, don't forget to register. And we also we haven't done that for all season, but for quite I would say like probably 80% of the season, we also send a Twitter DM if we have their Twitter account, where we say, hey, you haven't registered. And so yeah, we're trying our best, but it's hard to, we'll think about strategies or what we could do, but I'm not sure we could do much more than that in the end.
Yeah, I that happened to me once. I think it was season 0.4. The day before, Lucas messaged me on Discord and said, by the way, you've not signed up. And I was like, what? I've not signed up. I was like, thank you for letting me know. Otherwise, I would have completely forgot to have signed up. Usually, when registration opens, I like to be within the first 10 clubs to register. I'm like, bang, bang. I must have forgot. And I didn't even realise I thought I'd signed up. And the day before, Lucas messaged me. So I've definitely experienced
saved
that
by
before.
Lucas.
Yeah.
And that's also something that we're thinking about. Like maybe we should ease the condition to register at the beginning. Like usually you needed to have like 18 players on your roster. Maybe we could just say like you need 11, or because it will release friction, and so that could be easier for people to sign up. So we are still exploring that, like how we can make it. It's just some small changes to make it easier for people to register, and yeah, but we don't want, like, another solution would be to register everyone even if they don't have a team, but we are not a huge fan of this situation because that would create a lot of inactive teams that would just forfeit and etc. So we considered it because we could split a bit the inactive team in all the division, and in the end that would be too much, but we are not 100% sure about that. So yeah, we're still in the process of thinking about it, if we can improve that. Otherwise we'll keep it as we've done previously.
The IMFF still needs to make some rules about it.
Yeah,
that's the the situation.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to, I kind of group this together as one thing. So it's just players will get older, players will get better, and then players can be sent to a development center to get better eventually. So let's talk about all those 3 things. And I think most people already know quite some bits about people like players progressing, getting older, and then they're gonna retire, etc. So I thought, what are like some things you think as a team that users should be more aware of, that they need to realize this a bit more? Or do you think there are some myths that like people are telling each other that you need to kind of bust, that you say like, be more aware of this or focus more on this?
No,
might be a hard question also, but
it's a hard question. No, I don't I haven't seen some myth around player progression. I think we've tried our best to explain it and to make it as clear as possible in the white paper, in the blog article. Player progression is really is different for any players. So you won't, like, even if you have like some players that have the same attributes, the same overall, the same potential, even the same prime age, in the end they will progress in a different way. And so that's we've really worked on an algorithm that makes it not too predictable, but of course there will be you will see that if a player is starting to improve a lot, it's more likely because he has a high potential, but that also could be because he's just like having a super early prime age and then will stop progressing pretty shortly, and then will not progress super well on a longer term, or will not continue at that rate of progression. So I think that's really something that that I really like, and that makes the game super interesting, because you will have more and more scouting than what it used to be. Before it was really on static attribute and that was already fun, like to scout and to find the attributes. But now there's another stuff to it that is how the player has progressed, how he has. You will have to take a lot of stuff into consideration. Maybe he has not progressed a lot, but he didn't play a lot, so maybe that's can also come from it, or there's a lot of factors there, and I think that will make this approach of scouting, buying players, etc. super interesting.
I think you perfectly answered my question, because I think most people don't know about this unique path, that each one has a unique path to progress. So you can have like a late bloomer who is slow progressing, and suddenly at end of 20s they become much better, and someone is an early, can you say bloomer, Jimbo? I don't know if that's the word.
Early bloomer, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that suddenly becomes very good, and then it's very hard to predict that, and so many variables. So it's hard to. So that makes it really cool to, keep track and of your players. And I don't know if there's like a tool of Ali Coleman or like how you can track this, but it will be very hard because it's so unique and so many variables.
Yeah, definitely, and there will be randomness also. So not everything can be predicted, and we want to. We had to find the right mix between having like a bit of predictability and not too much, because I think it's first to be closer to football, because I think it's you can predict a bit like how a player will progress, but there's always like some unpredictability here. You never really know. So to be more realistic, but also to have the game more fun, because if it's not predictable at all, then it's just randomness, and then I think it's not super fun. But if it's 100% predictable, then it's just a number game kind of, and so we wanted to have like something in the middle, so that you to take a bit the best stuff from both worlds, but from both worlds, and to have it like that. So that's why we worked a lot on this algorithm, and Quentin did a super good job on that. We spent a lot of time, myself and Quentin, Yann, Luca also, to help us to shape this. So that was probably one of the longest project that we had so far in terms of not development, but really thinking of and designing the feature.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most important parts of a Football Manager game is the development and the progression of players. So it makes sense why that is the biggest project or biggest piece of work that you've spent the most time on. I wanted to pick on one point about the aging, and we get asked the question a lot about packs that have been unopened and the players within them aging, because that's what our current understanding is, that players who are still in packs will age. Is that still the case? And a question I've always wondered, I think I said it on the Q&A last week, was that is there a scenario where a pack is opened and the player's already retired because it's a really early adopter pack, or is there a limit? Does the age a player can be in a pack start at 30 or end at 32 years old, for example, where the what does that look like?
No, but yeah, exactly. We want, as I said before, like we don't want to have people like to come on the game to buy stuff and just say I can speculate and wait like for when the game is going to be 100k users or 1 million users and just sell it for a profit. We don't want really that. We don't think it's good for the ecosystem and for the economy. And so for that, that's why we've designed that since day one, that people will age, and then they will age also if they're in pack. So in the end, if you keep your pack open for 40 seasons, your player will have 40 more years, so they will be all retired.
Will there then be some sort of metadata associated with the pack? So someone who's new to the game and maybe buys a pack off a secondary marketplace like Floaty, will they be able to understand, oh, hang on, this pack is actually 7 seasons old, therefore, a 20-year-old can now be 27?
Yeah, that's something that we we could be that could be better on especially on the floaty marketplace, or to have like the metadata of when the pack was released or which season, for example. So that could be definitely something that we can update. To be honest, I don't think that would happen to a new users, because people that are buying on the packs on the secondary marketplace, most of the time they are like users that are very experienced,
users,
and they know what they are doing, and they can I think pretty easily you can kind of know when the pack was released, because you can see the ID of the pack. It's at the moment it's just an increment, so it's +1 So if you see a pack 1, then you know that it's going to be like something very, very old, etc., like an old pack. So yeah, I think that adding this metadata could clarify that, but in the end, it will never happen that on the MFL site you buy a pack with retired player. It cannot happen, because like the player, they age into packs, but MFL players that are in the MFL account in our vault that are not already released in supply, that they are not considered as a circulating supply, they won't age in this case. So that, for example, like we don't want the case to happen that you receive like we use a player in a pack and then it's already retired. We don't want that for our pack. So that's they're not going to age the players that are old in our vault.
So is that players like a referral, like a common player from a referral? Would that come from the vault, or if?
Yeah, that would come from the vault. Okay. So basically, everything that is like the first emission of the player on the market. So it could be from a referral, from a giveaway, from a pack. All this, it's the first emission. As soon as there is the first emission, they will age for the next season. But if they have not been emitted on the market, they won't be aging.
Nice, thank you for that.
Good to know. I think that's pretty something new too.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be if you receive a retired player for your referral stuff, or that doesn't work. Obviously.
Congratulations, here's Grandpa for you. And then yeah, that's not gonna happen. Good. Okay, so then the big announcement, or one of the big announcements in the coming week, is about the development center. So some people received some passes already in the breakaway wheel. So what could you already say about this, and also what's the reasoning behind it? Why did you guys decide to release this?
So there's different factors to it. The first factor that we wanted to kind of solve or ease with the development center is that we wanted users, for example, agent or that have a player that they didn't manage to find a club for, to have a solution for them to make sure that he can progress, basically. So that's we wanted to make sure that there is another alternative for them to make sure that that their player can progress, even if that won't be like the best progression, or that of course that would be a better progression to if you put them in a club and he's actively playing. But we wanted to have a solution like for the season, you're not sure, like you won't find a club for your player. You can send him to the development center and he can still progress. So that was the first stuff. And then while exploring that, we saw that it could create also a super nice mechanism, in the DeFi, etc. Like in Web3 gaming, or if we go into DeFi, there is different stuff regarding the supply, and then there is a lot of stuff like which is called the stacking, where you lock kind of your player for a specific amount of time, and actually it has a lot of positive stuff on the ecosystem and on the economy generally. It's basically like banks are doing that also, when you put your money into some savings that you cannot touch for specific years, etc. So that's something like in the economy that is that works super well. And so we thought that this kind of development center could also create kind of stacking mechanism, because when you put your players into the development center, you won't be able to, of course, sign contracts for them, but you won't be able to trade them on the marketplace, etc. So that's, you kind of put them for 1 season up to 4 seasons in somewhere where you cannot touch them. So that's also create an interesting mechanism for the economy, the MFL economy overall.
Yeah, great. I'm really curious, Jim, or like, will you use it if you hear about it now, if you have lower common players, or what could be your reasoning as an agent to use it or not?
I think some of those, for me personally, probably some of my lower commons potentially using it for. At the moment, I run quite a strict agency where it's quite nice and small because my club size is small. But maybe someone like Make Think or, Trust the Process, who have, Make Think, he broke the 1,000 mark recently, didn't he? With players. So surely I think he'll get good use of the development center, unless he can, with all of his clubs he's got, manage to contract them all out. But there's definitely, the benefit will be there for a lot of the agents who have those excess players. So they got them, before the after transfer window or something like that, but still want to get some development from them, that sort of thing.
And something also interesting to note is that if you place them for the longer you place them in the development center, the better they will train. I don't have all the specific percentage in mind, but for example, if you place your player for 1 season, he will train around 60% of the XP that he would earn. But if you place him for 4 seasons, he will train for 120%. So in the end, there could be, if you place him for 4 seasons, he could train super well, and so that there would be an advantage to do that. But the drawback with that is that you will have to pay some MFL because they won't be free, and you won't be able to touch them for 4 seasons. So that's a kind of dilemma. And what we like also with that, on top of the previous argument that I was saying, is that it's also create a new decision that you can take. So it creates more depth to our ecosystem and more strategic decision to take for managers, and that's definitely what we want to do. We want to have like a lot of different solutions, strategies that can be viable, and yeah, we are looking forward to see how it will be received by players. I think so far we haven't shared a lot of details, so people are pretty intrigued, or like there's a lot of questions, but yeah, we hope it's going to be a good features, and we are looking forward to see what will be the usage behind that.
Yeah, definitely super interesting. That is 120%. It's like, it really puts you for some dilemma. Like, do you want to
lock and also them for 4 years, and then you won't be able to, you will have to pay MFL, but you won't be able to get MFL because they won't be playing. So yeah, that would be that's a dilemma indeed.
Yeah, good dilemma to have, and all the information about Player Development Center gets released when you listen to this tomorrow on the 22nd of October is when there's an explainer on Player Development Center. So you may have heard it first here from Matt. Right, we're aware the we've gone well into stoppage time here, and we need to have a little bit of a break before we get into the next part of the episode. So we are going to leave part 1 and end it here. # when part 2. When you listen to this, part 2 may already be released, but part 2 will be coming to your ears on Thursday this week. So # when part 2. Thank you all so very much for listening, and we'll see you on Thursday for part 2 of season 1 with CEO MFL. CEO MFL? MFL CEO, Mathurin. Thank you for listening.